Good to know you have rejoined us again on the program Good Morning Abuja, and it is showing only on the Unity Station NTA Channel 5. Now, drug abuse and substance are twin evil ravaging the world, and if nothing is done about it, the end result can only be imagined. This morning, we are going to talk about drug abuse and substance, especially amongst the youth. And I have been joined with an addiction therapist, David Folarumi, to talk to us about what drug abuse is all about, how we can step aside from it, the triggers, and as well the management. Let's welcome him. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Personally, this topic we have before us this morning interests me a lot because I have seen stories and I have seen things around how drug abuse is destroying our youth. Now, I want you to take it from a layman understanding of what drug abuse is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. So, to talk about what drug abuse is, we must talk about what a drug is.
Okay.
So, according to the World Health Organization, a drug is any substance, could be licit or illicit, which when taken into the body affects the central nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord. It affects the way we think, the way we feel, the way we behave. Of course, it has the potential to cure, prevent, or heal, or treat
or destroy
diseases, or destroy, as the case is, or destroy. Yeah, so that's what a drug is. Now, I said the drug can be licit or illicit. When it's licit, that means it's allowed to be sold by the government of a country. If it's illicit, then it is banned. It's not supposed to be sold. So now to your question. The simplest, you said in a layman's term,
yes.
The simplest definition of drug abuse is the use of any illicit drug in any quantity or form, or the misuse of any licit drug. So, for instance, if your doctor says take 2 paracetamol morning, afternoon, evening, but then you come back from work, you've had a hectic day, there's traffic, and you decide to take 4, you have abused drug.
Yes.
And your children are watching you.
Yes.
They are seeing that mommy is taking 4 instead of 2. So that's the licit angle. And the illicit angle is when you start using substances like marijuana, codeine, which is banned in Nigeria, cocaine, methamphetamines, and other forms of
okay, since you're already listing it, what are the commonly abused substances and what are their effects?
Okay, so substances are classified into depressants, hallucinogens, stimulants, and opioids. Right. So the most commonly used substances would include alcohol, which I like to say is a substance.
Alcohol is a substance.
Yes, you heard the definition. Yes. Anything that makes you think or act differently. According to World Health Organization, this is not David speaking.
Okay.
It's WHO telling us.
Okay.
That is a substance. So alcohol is a substance. And alcohol is known to be a depressant. So the effect of alcohol is that it depresses the central nervous system. So while some people think that alcohol makes them happy and that's the essence of alcohol, in actual fact, science has found out that alcohol depresses. So that's the effect. Of course, we have substances like cocaine, which is also very common, in our society today.
Yes.
That's a stimulant. So it stimulates the mind, the central nervous system, and all of that makes people hyperactive and think that you can do whatever it is you want to do.
Yes.
The most common used substance after alcohol is marijuana, with the primary components being tetrahydrocannabinol. So that also has the effect of euphoria, makes people to get unnecessarily excited and all of that. So some of the effects are long-reaching. Excessive use of marijuana is known to cause schizophrenia, sterility in men, and certain other diseases that can come from it. I think these are the major ones that are used in the society. But we have the emergence of synthetic drugs.
Okay.
Now, synthetic drugs are drugs that are chemically modified or chemically made. So you have some of them like the nicknames they give them: Canadian Loud, Colorado, Imburumi in the southeast.
I was going to ask you that's an English name.
Crystal methamphetamine or ice. So these ones are chemically made, and then they cause hallucinations, delusions, and are very, very detrimental to the human body.
Okay, you say some of the substances are banned already, yet you see our youth with them on the street. How do they get all this?
Well, so substance, the substance trade, the drug trade, is a multi-billion-dollar industry globally, right? Bringing in more money than arms trade or even oil. So we always have criminals who want to peddle these substances for their financial gain. Well, I think the NDLEA, under the leadership of General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, is doing an excellent job in drug supply reduction. We've seen the arrest of several barons. We've seen the constification and destruction of several substances that have been used or that have infiltrated the country. So I think we are far better than where we were, but there might still be room for improvement. Just like you said, we still have young people having access to it, but we believe that under his leadership, we're going to make much more progress.
Okay. Now, I want you to take us through the let me call it the immediate effect, the short-term, medium, and long effect of this drug abuse.
Okay, so the effects are, I group them into an acronym I've titled as SMELL.
Okay.
So S is the social effect.
Okay.
You become disintegrated from your family, your friends, and all of that. We also have the medical effect. Medical effect can be short-term, medium-term, long-term. Eventually can even lead to death.
Okay.
So from short-term, you talk about sometimes you have things like cough, you have things like blurry eyes, you have things like a runny nose and things like that. And when you go up to the long-term effects, you have organ damage. We have people who are looking for kidneys. Even here in Abuja, among the youths, we were told we have about 158 people currently in need of kidney transplant in Abuja alone. So organ damage, it's a medical effect. And then, of course, you also have death as the ultimate effect of substance use in some cases. We also have the economic effect because, yes, it costs money to maintain this kind of lifestyle.
Yes.
It costs money to maintain this lifestyle. So that's that. It also costs your family money to treat. Treatment is expensive.
Yes.
It's costing the government money to carry out proper drug demand supply, drug supply reduction and drug demand reduction. Okay. So that's money also that is being spent. And finally, we have the legal effects. So a person using substances may get into trouble with the law. This is because he or she might start doing things that are against the laws of the land. Okay. So these are some of the effects of drug abuse.
I as well want you to take us through how does substance abuse impact physical and mental health?
Okay, so I think I've spoken a bit on the physical aspect. On the mental aspect, it's important we know that substance abuse and mental health has a bidirectional relationship.
Okay.
This means that substance use can lead to mental health issues. So like I said, when I was talking about marijuana, a study done by CNN showed that long-term use of marijuana can lead to schizophrenia, which is a mental health disorder, right? And to interest you to know that this is not also treatable, right? And other mental health illnesses like bipolar personality disorder, anxiety, depression, these are all byproducts of long-term use of certain substances. Also, certain people who struggle with mental health disorders might want to use substances, as a means of solace, to help them with the challenges they're going through. So they have mental health and substance have a bidirectional relationship, meaning one can lead to the other and vice versa.
Wow. This is now bringing me to family level because drug abuse and substance amongst the youth. Now, what role do you think the family members, the caregivers, and even the school should do to help out in this issue of drug abuse? Okay,
so personally, I believe the key to this issue of drug use among our youth is prevention. Okay. Right? If there's ever a time that is saying prevention is better than cure, it's correct. It's in this issue of drug abuse. So if we can prevent it, carry out early intervention and make sure that these young ones do not even start, then we've made a pass mark. So in prevention, personally, I think there are 5 cardinal points to effectively prevent substance use in the society. Number 1, the family unit. I've always reiterated that substance use can be prevented in the society, and it starts with the family. And guess what? As parents who are custodians of the family, this responsibility rests solely on the thighs of parents. Parents, we need to wake up. We need to sit up to the responsibility of preventing drug use in the society. Yes. You can't delegate this to the schools. You can't delegate it to the religious centers. Yes. You can't delegate it to the government. I mean, the government has too many issues on its hands to be thinking about preventing drug abuse. Okay. So parents, please let us wake up. This is our responsibility. That's number one. All right. Number two is...
before you give us, because you say 5, you've given us only one, because this is a very interesting topic. Let's quickly go on this break. When we come back, we'll continue.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we are here and we are talking about drug abuse and substance among youth. Let's quickly go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll still be here to give you more. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, and if you've just tuned in, the program is Good Morning Abuja, and we are talking about drug abuse, substance, especially amongst the youth. Yes, before we went on that break, you were trying to give us breakdown of 5 numbers. You gave us a
so I was talking about 5 cardinal points of prevention.
Yes.
This is what David Folarami thinks can prevent substance use in the society. So I started with talking about the family unit as number 1 and the key stakeholders in preventing substance use. Then number 2 is the school. So we have the school-based prevention. So how much do our school systems, our institutions of learning, how much do they know about substance use prevention, and how is this inculcated in their curriculums, right? And then the fabric of the school. Are your schools drug-proof? I mean, there are certain schools, you find out that people will tell you, if you go to this particular school, they use drugs, their children smoke, their children do this. So you see, the school has a part to play after the family has played the part. Number 3 is the community-based intervention. So when we were much younger, they used to say that it takes a community to raise a child. But that doesn't happen anymore. No. You might be driving home, you see your neighbor's child smoking, you turn a blind eye because you feel it's not your own child doing it, but you forget. We're not helping. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. So if every community can come together to police this menace, and we are all our brother's keepers. We see our neighbor's child doing something wrong. We see a place that is a dark spot, a black spot. We know that people go there to do things. You know that in this place they are selling illicit drugs. You have to speak up, because it might not be your child today, but you forget that your child will go and interact with your neighbor's children when you are not at home. And that's how it comes to your doorstep.
And they'll come back and be innocent.
Of course, and they'll come back and be innocent. And then number 4 is the religious-based intervention. Okay. Nigeria is a very religious country. Yeah. If you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, or if you're a traditional worshiper, we have a religion. Everybody believes in a higher power. So if we can talk to the custodians of these religious settings, the imams, the pastors, the reverends, everybody who is in charge, and let them also integrate drug abuse prevention in their teachings. It doesn't have to be every time. Once in a while, talk about this thing, because it will interest you to know that the youth, most young people, will listen to their religious leaders even before their parents.
Sure.
Yes, because they grow so used to you at home, but then they know that this person is there's somebody they look up to. So when they have a challenge, they will run to their pastor, they will run to their imam, they will run to their malam. And if you can't provide the help that they need, then you've lost that child. So we need to set up as religious organizations, and we need to also integrate drug abuse prevention into our sermons and teachings. And then finally, the media, which is what you're doing today. Okay. I believe the media plays a critical role, a key role. It's a key stakeholder in preventing substance use. We need to stop glorifying substance use on air. We need to stop putting out content that makes substance use look cool.
All in the name of
what you get. We need to make sure that people who have content, and the media is broad, social media, print media, television. Yes, but the entire media needs to come together to play a part. And then when you have programs like this, it's kudos to you. It's kudos to you. You don't know who is listening and who has picked something. And because of that, the person decides not to use substance. You've played your part.
Now, talking about listening and picking something, because we're talking about prevention. Because if we prevent it, our society will be better for it. Give us an overview of the signs and symptoms, because if you see what someone is going through, you should be able to know that this is not normal. Okay, so what should be the signs and symptoms?
So very importantly, a lot of parents don't even know the signs and symptoms. Research has shown that it takes almost 2 years for a parent to know that his child is using substance. And this is true. We see it every time. You see a child who say, "I have been using for 2 years," under the nose of the parents in the same house, and they didn't know. So this is a good question. So some of the signs, immediate signs you can see will include bloodshot eyes.
Okay.
Yes, even though sometimes the youth have found a way to use eye medicine, eye drop to clear the eyes. Yes, the eyes but then you see also blurry eyes, or widened eyes, slurred speech, delayed responses, absent-mindedness, the person's demeanor changes. Somebody that used to be very lively now becomes very secretive and withdrawn. Everybody used to have dinner together on the table. Then this time, this person wants to sit alone by him or herself to eat. Sometimes they start wearing things that cover their entire body because there's either drastic weight gain or drastic weight loss. Sometimes you also find needle marks for those who inject drugs. So they wear things to cover their body. Sometimes unnecessary use of perfume and cologne. They're trying to mask a smell. Sometimes they're always taking tom-tom. It's also something. A parent told me recently that her son is always holding a bottle of Coke, and you hold the Coke for many hours. I said, then it's not Coke.
It's not Coke.
Yes, when you notice that the person and is always taking it everywhere, tell him that you want to taste it. Tell him you want to smell it. So these are some of the signs. Drastic reduction in grades in school. Your child is an A student. He starts struggling with his classes. Make inquiries. Find out. Or there's now problem with the law. Police bring your child home today, tomorrow, every day. There's a problem. When they start demanding money and there's no specific reason why they're demanding money, then you investigate. There's most probably a problem. When you find drug paraphernalia around them, that's why as parents, we should know these things. You find Rizla, you find lighter, you find empty pack of cigarettes, you find a stem or bunker in their room, you should know that there's a problem. When they start working with the bad people around your community, there's a problem. When they start defending teenage use of substances, when they say, "Mommy, it's not that bad now, Mommy, it's not that bad," there's a problem. They have started. Wow. So these are some of the signs we need to look out for.
This is fearful. This is fearful. Now let's talk about treatment.
Yes.
Let's talk about treatment.
Yes. Addiction is a chronic relapsing brain disease characterized by the compulsion to engage in a behavior or consume a substance irrespective of its known consequences. So it's important that we know that addiction is a disease. It's not a behavior. It's not a character. It's not a moral failure. So if somebody is struggling with an addiction, it doesn't mean the person is necessarily a bad person. The person needs to go in for treatment. And so treatment can be done through several ways. Therapeutic treatment, medically assisted treatment, psychotherapy, which is what we do, cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational interviews, and the like. So usually there's inpatient or outpatient treatment. Inpatient, you bring the person into rehab for admission, minimum of 90 days usually. So there's a detox phase to make sure that all of the drugs are out of his or her system. Then you engage the person in therapy. And then after the treatment phase, then there's the social reintegration phase, which is very important, where you put the person in a halfway home and the person is gradually let back into the society under the watchful eyes of medical professionals.
Wow, yes. This is a broad, broad topic, and I know you have a lot to tell us, but time is obviously not our friend this time. But quickly before I let you go, your final word, the way forward on how this whole thing, drug abuse and substance, can be reduced. In terms of the barest minimum.
To reduce substance abuse to the barest minimum, we must invest in prevention. The evidence is clear. I mean, prevention is the key, is the way out of this. Recently, there was the Oviedo Declaration in Spain, where a group of professionals met together and said, look, we must put our feet on the ground. And in every country where there is a budget for drug demand prevention, 25% of that budget must go into prevention. So you see, people are waking up to see that, look, treatment, cure is not sure. We must invest in prevention. We must come together to say prevention is the way, prevention is the key, and prevention is what will reduce substance abuse to the barest minimum. But also, in closing, for people who are struggling, it is not a death sentence. Please don't look at yourself and say, oh, there's no way out for me. There are people who come out of it. It is possible to come out of it. It's possible to get evidence-based treatment. and then you can live your life fully and fruitfully.
Wow, this is so broad and interesting. You know, we have a lot to say, talking about misconceptions, whether it's spiritual or not, but I know you've debunked a lot of things, and you've told us that prevention is the key, and it's everybody's business. If you see anything, talk about it.
Say something. Yeah.
Make it your concern as well, because our children are next generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much.
Addiction therapist for coming on our show.
Thank you very much.
Together we talked about drug abuse and substance amongst the youth. We do really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
The program is Good Morning Abuja. Let's quickly go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll still be here to give you more. Stay with us, please.